A lot of people complain about this, especially in your communities. And I guess this we're going to try to see how best it sets up with this new property tax. I mean, you have to deal with your neighbor and the dogs. I mean, there are people with dogs, they have no walls, but they have dogs. But bursting the garbage bags, loud music, poor plumbing, sewage coming over into your property. They're not maintaining their property, and it gets worse and worse, Master Control. We're talking about neighbors from hell. Neighbors from hell. Loud music, dogs busting the garbage bags, wouldn't maintain your property, sewer water. My gosh, and the list goes on and on and on. Neighbors from hell. Yes, neighbors from hell. And you know what's the scary part about it? I've witnessed something that is so terrible. They simply don't care about, are you there, Mr. Sookoo?
Yes, Mr. Koo.
All right, one second. Before I make the introduction. And Master Control, show this. I mean, this has gone to a point where how heartless. And for those of you who may have a weak stomach and who are very sensitive and love animals, this is how some of these people live, and it makes you wonder what kind of heartless people we have roaming this land. Let's see that. This basically was a puppy that they just simply neglected, had chained up, and died. Just died and didn't care. Didn't care whether somebody was feeding it, didn't care whether somebody came to take care of it. And I mean, this is so sad. Master Control, if you have it, I mean, this is so sad, so unfortunate that people would have to do something like this and live the way that it is. And my grandmother always said that children didn't come here to suffer, and animals didn't come here to be abused. What kind of human being would do this? And you don't even care. How could you do this to a pet? How could you do this to someone that you may even consider a part of the family that is there guarding your premises, and you can just simply walk away? How do you get justice? Because it's an order is emanating. It's an inconvenience to everyone there. Listen, a pleasant good evening to Attorney Joseph Sookoo. Pleasant good evening. Yes, thank you so much for joining us. How do you get justice with all of this? I mean, you go to the police station, the officers tell you, listen, there's really not much we can do. This is a civil matter. The most you can do is, give a statement. We will record it, but that's it. How do you deal with these neighbors from hell?
Mr. Koo, I regret that I have to comment on something like this. When I saw that video, it turned my stomach. But there are things that can be done. Perhaps not the best things, perhaps not the greatest things, but there are protections. Oh boy. Let's talk about, we'll deal with the simpler parts of this, right? I mean, there are noxious smells. Unfortunately, there's a deceased animal on the compound, and those things do attract other pests, dangers. Now, we've all had recent experience with COVID and public health. That's one of the places you can start. Under the Public Health Act, these dangers are things that can be reported to the public health inspector, who can pay a visit and address it. Equally, the regional corporation has similar power. Right? Now, that doesn't deal with, of course, what led to the passing of that poor animal. But ultimately, for that as well, we know that there's animal cruelty law, and we know that the TPSPCA and a variety of other groups have lobbied for quite some time, and perhaps even unsuccessfully, for these laws to be given a bit more teeth. The punishment is fairly mild, and as much as we would wish that our gentlemen in the public services, the police service in particular, would take on all of these complaints. Sometimes it's a matter of manpower and, where one puts that.
Yeah.
And when crimes are minor in the scope of things, despite how we feel about it, Things like that happen.
And I understand that, Mr. Sookoo, but we are celebrating how many years of independence this week?
Yeah, we're celebrating, what, is it 61 now?
Yeah, 61 years of independence. And yet still these issues, they do exist, they do come up. I mean, this is a poor animal that couldn't fend for itself. And someone just left it there. And you have neighbors, you're living in a community. Now, on top of that, I don't want to bring you into the political realm, but I have to, because if we were going to make reference to North America and other places that they say are developed, then we need to make reference to that. If I am going to pay property tax, I must be able to pick up the phone and call whoever it may be at the warden office, or what we have here is the corporation, and say, listen, I have a problem with my neighbor. I am paying property tax. I have a problem with my neighbor. You can't just simply be draining me of my money, my hard-earned money at the end of it all. And what sort of service or delivery am I getting as a citizen of this country? I don't care who's in office. If you're going to tax me for more money, I need to get something in return. And I should be able to call the corporation and say, listen, there's a dog that's being neglected. It looks like it's on its last. We're trying to feed it, but it's not our responsibility. And here it is, it has died. You have a neighbor with poor plumbing, sewer water is coming into your yard. They're not maintaining their premises. If I'm going to dip deeper in my pocket, these are things that have to be rectified. How do we deal with that? Is it that we're putting basically the cart before the horse?
No, not quite. There is a lot of remedies available. A lot of it people don't know. I will go away from the question of the animal. For example, the open sewage scenario. Constant running water. Let's look at noise. Let's look at other types of pollution, overgrown grass. Again, as I just said, under public health, you can address those things as well as being potential hazards. And that's one easy way to do it. Another way to do it is that, for example, let's look at loud noise, music. I know quite a few people complain about loud music happening, going on from time to time. Right now, here's the thing. One of the earliest things we learned to doing our law degree, I say our at least, is that, the law recognizes that neighbors must be neighbors. That, sometimes you have to let a little thing go. It's not perfect. You can play a little music. You can be a little annoying, but let's not overdo it. It's the overdoing is where things go on. So noise complaints. One, let's say, for example, that your neighbor has been informed by you that, there's a particular reason why you don't want loud noise. Maybe you have a young baby, maybe you have sick relatives, whatever it is. And you and the neighbor not getting along. And the neighbor decides to spite you and play loud music to aggravate, to annoy you, to alarm you, to stress you. That could very well be criminal harassment. Right? And under criminal harassment, not only are you and the police allowed to intervene, right? There's the possibility of getting an order from the magistrate's court, because that's where it goes, to prevent your neighbor from repeating such actions. That's one way. Another way, you have the civil courts, right? It's called trespass. It's called nuisance, right? Again, a person is entitled to use their property as they see fit, so long as you don't cause, too much problems to people around you. In this case, too much noise, that's a nuisance, right? All these sort of behaviors. It could be too much noise, it could be noxious fumes, smells, these sort of things. All of these things could also fall within the civil realm of nuisance. You can go to the High Court and get an order as well as damages, albeit in most cases not much, compelling your neighbor to stop that behavior.
Right.
Let me throw in one more little piece as well, which is a little bit more unusual. The EMA, environmental management, noise pollution. Most parts of Trinidad and Tobago are zoned for certain types of uses: industrial use, commercial, residential, agricultural, and variants, interspersed between there. There are certain noise levels permitted in these areas. Now, of course, you make your complaint to environmental, they will come and do the investigations and all that, and they can take certain steps, right? That's unusual, but it's something also allowed, right? And let's throw on, one last little piece of noise. Let's say you have commercial neighbors, people who have bars, people who have clubs. They need their licenses, bar licenses, club licenses, and when time comes to renew those, you can make a complaint, and normally not successful unless it's really a major issue. The the magistrate's court, and I'll leave out all the technicalities of it,
Right.
can order that licenses be suspended or not renewed because, you're not using it properly and your noise disappears. Let's look at noxious smells. We were talking dirty drains, open sewers, these sort of things. Let's use the drain analogy because, all those things could exist in that rather unfortunate stream. Right? It's dirty water. Again, public health. Again, nuisance because, if your water is flowing from your yard into mine, I don't deserve, as a matter of civil law, to have that. Right? If, for example, you have your neighbor from hell who's waiting for you to come home to pelt you with dirty water or to throw it in your yard, watch it hard in your face, because they know it will annoy you. Back against the magistrate's court, back again to the high court. It's harassment, it's nuisance. Right? If of course, there's public health issues, you have that too. Right? And of course, let's not forget mosquitoes. Again, standard public health. So, you're going to find answers in all of these realms for a variety of your problems with your neighbor. Right? And look at bad grass, for example.
Yeah.
It's overgrown. That's a standard thing. Report that to your regional corporation. Report that to public health. They will actually come and do the investigations. They have the power to actually clean it up and send the bill to people who own the property.
But Mr. Sookoo, all good and well. So you're saying the first thing that you have to do, okay, so you lodge the complaint at the police station, then you go to the corporation. If that is not helping, then you take it to the courts.
No, well, all of these options are independent of the party. You can do all of them if you want.
Okay, great.
You can do one or the other. Yeah, you have all of these options.
Because I believe people, hardworking individuals, when you come home, there's a lot of things you don't want to deal with. But again, we always keep making reference about what happens in North America. In North America, if you're in a community and there's a community group or whatever that governs that area, you have to get permission from them first in order to paint your house in whatever color. Because they'll tell you, if you do anything wrong, not only will you bring down the value of your property, but it will affect the other properties as well. In Trinidad, anything goes. And hardworking people at the end of the day coming home thinking that they're going to find some sort of, safe in their homes have to deal with too many of these issues.
Well, I'm not going to touch the political aspect. The example you just described is possible in Trinidad and Tobago. In the state, they call it homeowners associations and all that. You may be aware that, you have these housing developments, right? With, let's say, 10, 20, 30 houses, apartments, etc. inside there. For your viewers who live in these places, they are aware that they've signed two documents. They've bought the property, but they've also bought the property contingent upon conditions within that neighborhood. And I can tell you, by way of example, I had, about 2 years ago, raised a complaint about water damage between buildings in such a community, in West Moorings actually, right? And I dragged in the homeowners association, I'll use that phrase for now.
Yeah.
Right? Normally it's incorporated and a bunch of other things. I dragged them in and said, listen, according to this document signed off by everyone inside your neighborhood, if the neighbor doesn't fix the issue, I will make you fix the issue. They intervened and things are sorted out. Now, this happens in, certain neighborhoods that's been pre-developed and all that. But I don't want to say it's not that Trinidad isn't properly developed. That's not true. Trinidad has its own very unique history. But, what you may be describing is a contractual relationship, right? That's being enforced quite strictly. So,
understood.
There's also arrangements, because in the States as well, people may be very well more aware of their rights. People may be very well, a bit more aggressive. And, the same things we're talking about reporting to town and country. Well, I'm saying town and country now, because,
right.
Stuff like that happens abroad. They see you building something outside a code, they report you. And then you get a knock on your door saying, stop it. And a variety of other things,
Yeah.
We've seen television, we've seen, sitcom. Those things are based on a variety of facts that tend to be true in most cases.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking time out to link with us. This is a very serious matter, and I know we will continue this topic, sometime in the near future. Again, police station, corporation, law. So there are options that you could try to get these issues redressed. Thank you so much again, Mr. Sookoo. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Good. Take care.
Thank you.